Hey everybody, Evan Tobias here. Just wanted to do a recap on some of the things we chatted about in our class today. To give you some context, this is a class that addresses secondary music learning and teaching. It's designed to help people think through, design, and facilitate secondary music classes that really address the interests and needs of the broadest sense of students, and particularly young people who choose not to engage in band, orchestra, or choir, and also designed to think through classes that might be more comprehensive than the types of courses you see that are only focused on a particular way of doing music. So, for instance, a keyboard lab, or a music technology class, or a music theory class. Think comprehensive, think hybrid, both in terms of online and physical, but also lots of different ways of doing music, and that's what this class is designed. It's for undergraduate music learning and teaching majors. So getting right into it, first day of class, what do? We started off centering ourselves and breathing and thinking about how we felt at this time in this moment. And we also reflected on how much of that do we want to share with others and how much of that would we just like to keep internal. Did a couple of breakout groups so people could introduce themselves to each other and share how they were feeling. Then we came back and reflected on, what does this have to do with music and music learning and teaching? We took it a step further where we all muted ourselves and tried to get into the type of headspace where we can think in sound of what would that feeling sound like. So when we think about how we're feeling right now, what does that sound like? What does that even mean? We didn't share out, we didn't create that music. It was mostly thinking in sound, but we had a brief conversation about what that has to do with music and music learning and teaching. The bulk of what we did today is think through, what does it mean to be in the community with one another? What does it mean to be in a music community? And most importantly for our context, what does it mean to be in a music learning community? And how do we hope and wish to engage with one another throughout the semester? Did some breakout groups, chatted with each other, and then came back and brainstormed on a Miro board, which I love because they're sort of limitless. And you can get a lot of engagement really quickly. It's very visual. After we got a lot of content on there and chatted through it, we also had some people annotating, drawing arrows, getting really into it to develop a sense of how we want to be as a music learning and teaching community, which really sets the stage for the rest of the semester. That was the bulk of what we did today. We also touched on some of these questions. You could see the one in the middle. What guidelines should we have in place for how we engage with one another? But to contextualize that, we were thinking about, what are some things that you might want or need to express at this current time? What are some things that young people might want or need to express at this current time? And then again, always, what does this have to do with music learning and teaching? What does this have to do with our class? But the bulk of what we did was to develop those guidelines as a community, which takes a place for now over predefined guidelines that might have been in a syllabus. At the end of class, we spent a bit of time thinking about some driving questions that will inform what we do this semester. So no matter what we're doing this semester in this class, they will always come back to these 4 driving questions. What does a music class need to be now and in the future, and why? Again, this goes from the most basic question of how to think through curriculum or how to facilitate a project, how to scaffold learning. All of that will be informed by, what does a music class need to be now and in the future, what projects we do. How can we support young people being creative, expressive, and to thrive? Again, when we think about the kinds of issues we discuss in class, it will always come back to this idea of, what is our role in supporting young people in being creative, being expressive, and thriving? What do we do in these kinds of class situations to support young people? Third, and these are not in any kind of hierarchical order, how might music learning and teaching make a positive impact in people's lives and in our local communities? Always thinking both locally and globally, and an intersection between that huge scale of the most local to the most global. But how are we making a positive impact? How can we make a positive impact? And how does that inform the choices we make, the decisions we make, how we engage with students? And then finally, number 4, what role might music learning and teaching play in fostering and supporting an equitable and anti-racist society? This is going to be a thread woven through pretty much all of our discussions throughout the semester. And I'm curious, what are the driving questions that you would propose for an undergraduate class oriented around secondary music programs? What's missing from here as those central driving questions? What are the more specific questions that you think we should be addressing? And I'm also curious, how would you answer these questions? Let me know in the comments or hit me up in a direct or private message. I'm always curious how people are thinking about secondary music learning and teaching, and interested to hear your perspectives. I'm really excited about this semester. It's going to be fantastic. It's a great class. We're really going to be thinking through what do music classes need to be. We're thinking through issues of ethics. We're thinking through all of these different questions, and it would be interesting for some of you to take part in it in some kind of way.